It's March 2025, and right now the Canary Islands, a place well known for its sunny beaches, turquoise waters, and vibrant streets, are underwater. Torrential rains and flash floods have turned this place into a disaster zone. Streets are rivers, cars are being swept away, and entire towns are submerged. This isn't a scene from the past. It's happening as we speak. Let's take a closer look at how this idyllic destination is fighting to survive one of its worst natural disasters in years. It all started on March 3rd, 2025, a day that changed everything for the Canary Islands. What started as heavy rainfall quickly turned into a nightmare. Gran Canaria, one of the most popular islands, was hit the hardest. In Telde, a quiet town known for its peaceful streets, disaster struck. A reservoir burst, sending a massive wave of water crashing through the area. Streets that were once filled with life were now raging rivers, sweeping away everything in their path. Cars were tossed around like toys, carried by the powerful currents. You can see it in the footage. Vehicles being dragged downstream, crashing into each other, some completely submerged. It was chaos. Emergency services rushed to the scene, but the sheer force of the water made their job nearly impossible. Think about being trapped in your car, water rising around you, and the current so strong it could sweep you away in seconds. This wasn't just a flood, it was a full-blown disaster, and it was only the beginning. By March 4th, the situation went from bad to worse. The Spanish Meteorological Agency, AEMET, issued a red weather alert for Gran Canaria. The warning was clear: more heavy rain, hail, and even snow in some areas. Yes, snow, in a place known for its year-round sunshine. The islands were under siege, and no one was safe. Tourist hotspots, usually bustling with visitors, were completely underwater. In Gran Canaria and Tenerife, roads were flooded and cars were being swept into the sea. The footage is shocking. People staring at their vehicles floating away, some disappearing under the waves, others left mangled on the shore. But it wasn't just the infrastructure that suffered. The Canary Islands are famous for their vibrant carnivals, colorful parades, music, and celebrations that draw people from all over the world. This year, those celebrations were canceled. Streets that should have been filled with crowds were instead filled with water and debris. It was a heartbreaking sight for locals and tourists alike. Authorities urged everyone to stay indoors and avoid travel, but even with the warnings, no one could have fully prepared for what was coming. The flash floods didn't hit all areas equally. Some parts of the Canary Islands bore the brunt of the disaster, leaving behind scenes of utter devastation. Starting with Telde, a town in Gran Canaria. This was ground zero for the flooding. Heavy rainfall and a burst reservoir unleashed a torrent of water that overwhelmed the town. The footage shows entire neighborhoods gushing with water, debris floating everywhere, and people trying to keep up with the disaster.
Les gars, c'est une dinguerie.
But even in that disorder, a dramatic rescue unfolded in the Telde region of Gran Canaria when a woman found herself trapped in her car as it was swept away by the floodwaters. In a courageous act, local resident Ramon Vera risked his own safety by wading through the dangerous currents to reach the stranded woman and bring her to safety. But Telde wasn't alone. Southern, eastern, and western Gran Canaria were also under siege. These regions were under an orange weather alert, with over 30 liters of rain falling in just 1 hour. That's an entire month's worth of rain in 60 minutes. Over in Tenerife, the situation was just as dire. The island faced a double whammy, flooding in the southeast and snowfall in higher areas. In one shocking incident, over 80 people were trapped in a supermarket as floodwaters rose around them. Thankfully, they were evacuated safely, but the fear and chaos of that moment are hard to forget. Even Lanzarote, though not as severely hit, felt the impact. Puerto del Carmen, another popular tourist spot, saw its streets overwhelmed by water, disrupting businesses and daily life. These areas, Telde, Gran Canaria, Tenerife, and Puerto del Carmen, were the hardest hit. The floods disrupted lives, livelihoods, and the vibrant spirit of the islands. But the story doesn't end here. The flooding hit the island's infrastructure hard. On March 5th, Gran Canaria Airport, one of the busiest hubs in the region, was forced to close temporarily. The airport was completely flooded, with water covering runways and terminals. Passengers were stranded, flights were delayed, and chaos unfolded as travelers scrambled to figure out their next steps. But while the airport struggled to recover, the real work was happening on the ground. In Telde and other affected areas, cleanup crews were already at work. The streets were littered with debris, broken furniture, shattered glass, and remnants of cars that had been tossed around by the floodwaters. Residents joined in, helping to clear the mess and restore some sense of normalcy. The scale of the damage is overwhelming, but amidst the destruction, there was a sense of determination. People were rolling up their sleeves, working together to rebuild what was lost. It was a daunting task, but the community wasn't giving up. As the days pass, the floodwaters are beginning to recede, but the damage they're leaving behind is staggering. Roads are cracked and covered in debris, making travel nearly impossible in some areas. Homes are still flooded, with families forced to evacuate and businesses facing massive losses. Footage shows emergency crews working tirelessly, helping residents salvage what they can and providing support to those who've lost everything. Authorities are urging caution as weather alerts continue to loom over the islands. The threat of more rain, hail, and even snow is still very real. But amidst the devastation, the community is coming together. Neighbors are helping neighbors, strangers are offering support, and the spirit of resilience is everywhere. The Canary Islands are being tested like never before, but they're not giving up. As the cleanup efforts continue, the focus now shifts to the future. How will the islands recover? What steps are being taken to prevent such a disaster from happening again? These are the questions that will shape the next chapter of Canary Islands' story. And as the people of the Canary Islands rise to the challenge, one thing is clear: their strength and unity will guide them through. The footage we've seen today paints a stark picture: flooded streets, homes underwater, and lives turned upside down. But amidst the chaos, there's a powerful story of resilience. From emergency crews battling the floods to communities coming together, the strength of the Canary Islands is undeniable. If this story resonated with you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more updates. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for watching.